All right, Robin, as we have said before, footprinting is about information gathering. It can be both passive and active, and as an attacker, you employ both modes to gather information. So, question is where do we start first? Now, the immediate answer is I will visit their public website, right, to understand the organization and gather details about the organization, key people, contact details, etc. You will try to gather information about potential customers, areas of business, technologies that they use, etc. So, reviewing the company's website is an example of passive information gathering. Then you might call the help desk to get some more information and may attempt to use social engineering, your charm, in other words, on the employees to get privileged information. Now, these two cases are active information gathering. When it comes to scanning of networks, you will have to ping machines to try to figure out the network ranges. You can port scan individual systems to understand the status of ports and to figure out if there are any vulnerabilities. Lots of things going on.
Okay, so let's come back to the whole process of information gathering.
Okay.
The process can be divided into 7 major steps, and they are gather initial information, determine network range, identify active machines, find open ports and access points, OS fingerprinting services, and then map the network.
Yeah, and we mentioned that you should be methodical in gathering information. It does not mean that you must follow only these steps in only this order. You assess the system or network and do what works. You're smart. Go by your instinct. And what we gave here is a set of steps that will finally help you to identify the vulnerabilities. As a hacker, that is your goal. Now, as an ethical hacker, you would want to gather information about the vulnerabilities and then see how you may protect your environment. This course and the course on reconnaissance elaborate on these steps. Now, however, we would like to give you a snapshot view of each of these steps.
So, initial information gathering is very important.
Yeah.
Good information gathering can make a difference when you hack or pen test a system or network. You have a lot of information available in the outside world about any organization. You can look at the company's website, news items, and financial information that is published to the public. You can get very useful information from disgruntled, dissatisfied employees or those who left the organization recently. You'll be able to get to know a landscape of the security architecture if you know or are familiar with the right sources or people. You can get the details of the people, their roles, contact numbers, email IDs, etc. You may have gotten the details of the server names, locations, or IP addresses.
Right, and then after that, next you try to find out the IP address range so that you can scan the network or the ports. You can get such details from the Whois database, ARINet, etc. And now you have the initial information and the IP address range. Now next, try to find out the active machines on the network. It's important to know which of the machines are alive before an attack. You can do a ping sweep to find if a machine is active, and you can find a ping on every system running a TCP IP. Many organizations restrict it. Ping sends an echo request to a system and waits for the response. Based on the receipt of the response, or non-receipt in some cases, you can determine if the system is active or not.
So, let's say you have the details about active machines. What next? You would want to understand the ports that are used by the applications and software packages. So work to identify the open ports and access points. Open ports will help the attackers a lot. You may be thinking that a firewall will be in place for protection. That may not be true in all cases. Right. There are programs that circumvent the firewalls to get to the ports.
Right, and once you know the ports and access points, the next step is to try to figure out the operating system and its version. When you have those details, you can refer to a standard database to find out the vulnerabilities in that version of that particular operating system. If an installation has not applied a patch to fix the known vulnerability, you now have an entry point.
And now there are 2 ways you can fingerprint the operating system. It can be either passive or it can be active. In active fingerprinting, specifically crafted packets will be sent to get a response. When you get a response, you will be able to figure out the OS fingerprint. This is much more accurate than passive. In passive fingerprinting, you will try to sniff a packet to understand the operating system and its version. The preferred approach is to go with passive fingerprinting, as you will not be noticed by intrusion detection systems, if any, nor will you find a trace in the logs.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you go for fingerprinting the services. You should be able to banner grab using tools such as Telnet or Netcat. You will be able to know which services or what services use what ports. Using this information, you can try to launch an attack. You also should be able to get the default information and behavior of any system. For example, if port 80 is open, you can assume that IIS 6.0 is running. If port 25 is open, you can then assume that Linux is running, you see? So note that you are making assumptions. You cannot assume that the information received in a banner grab are based on a response from a port. The system may be giving you falsified information, so you are assuming that this information is correct. You can use Nmap, Superscan, etc. to get to know common services associated with open ports.
Right. With the information you have, you can try to map the network. The map provides the hacker with a blueprint of the organization's security profile. This compilation could be manual or automated. We hope that you have a good idea about the steps involved in gathering information. One thing you have seen is the use of the word fingerprinting. The first 2 steps is considered to be passive footprinting, and the next 4 steps are considered to be active footprinting or scanning. The last step is the enumeration step. So fingerprinting covers almost all of the information gathering process. Now we are going to show you our view of fingerprinting hierarchy.